Hello friends, this is the 10th video tutorial into the video lecture series on machine learning. So last lecture we have seen about the different database, what are the database already available for the experiment purpose onto this inside the scikit-learn library. So in this tutorial we are going to see about the two database, that is Boston house database and Iris flower data set. How that data has been organized, what are the features associated with inside each and every data set, what are the output labels, and what are the class associated with this data set. We'll import with the help of this scikit-learn library. So let's begin. So there is a one Boston database. So let's first import the scikit-learn. So first sklearn dot datasets import star. So already this sklearn library has 4 or 5 dataset inbuilt available inside the dataset. We are importing it, and there is one more panda library which will be helpful for us to visualizing this data, that what are the features are available, what is the output in a very tabular format. So we'll import this pandas also. We'll give naming conventions PD, so we'll access every function with the help of PD. Okay, so we have imported the two things. From the sklearn we have imported the data set, and from the panda we use for data science purpose. So pandas library we have imported. Now let's import this Boston database. So Boston, so we have a load underscore Boston commands are there. So it has loaded all the Boston database inside the Boston variable. Now let's see what are the keys available for this Boston database set. So this data set of Boston has 4 keys. One is the data, one is the feature name, one is the description of that data, and one is the target, what is the output for individual record. Now let's see one by one each and every features which is available for this Boston data set. So let's print first the description. So we'll get idea SCR, we'll put the Boston. So this is the description of this database. So what they are saying is that there are number of instances 506, so total records are 506 inside this database. So total number of attributes is 13, so 13 is the total features, and the 14th is the output value. So there are 14 columns for each row available. These are the description of the individual features, like CRIM, that is a short form given for per capita crime rate by the towns. So based on the crime rate, they have assigned one feature associated with that. In this way there are a lot of the full tax, property tax rate per $10,000, index accessibility to the radial highways, and the proportion of residential land zones for lots of over 25,000 square feet. So in Boston dataset they have given this 13 feature for each house, and they have given the at the final output value, which is nothing but the price of that house in thousands of dollars. That is the output value. So this way this database set has been described, this Boston, and they have given some reference also from where it has been taken, who has created this data set and all those things. So this is all about the description of the Boston data set. Now let's see what are the different feature name. Feature name is already been given, but let's just print it and see what is there. So these are all short forms of description feature names. Okay, correct. Now let's see what is the data. How data is been organized. So it has a total this 506 instance of this. Let's first print the shape of this data. So it has a 506 rows and a 13 columns. 13 columns is nothing but the total number of feature for each record, and 506 is the total number of rows for the data. And this is the target, so that is the final output of data for each record. So this target is having another 506 value. For each house they have given what is the price of that house. Okay, so this is all about the different aspect of this Boston dataset. What I'm trying to see that this all data has been arranged in a very array kind of format. So let us use this pandas library, so which will put all of our data into very good tabular format. So let's start it. So we have in a panda there is a one, we'll put it into boss rather than Boston now. So pd dot one is data frame. We will supply this Boston data inside this data frame. So we will get whole data of the Boston, which is having a 506 rows and a 13 columns inside this Boston boss variable. Now we'll add one more column, which is nothing but a target. Target is our nothing but the price, and we'll assign this price is equal to Boston target. Boston dot target. So we'll add one more column to this tabular formats of data. Okay, before writing anything, let's just print boss dot head. So we'll get the idea of how data looks like. We'll just write print is not required. So it has printed the first 5 rows, and it is all having a 13 columns, but all having, nobody has having a name which is been given inside this Boston data set. So let's add this 14 column as a price, which is we are assigning to the Boston target, that is nothing but the output value, and boss dot columns is equal to whatever the our feature name. So that is Boston dot feature name. So what we did here, that every column of this boss variable which will given a value which is nothing but the individual feature name. So we will analyze individual feature name, and whatever the will price is nothing but the actual output of the individual house data set, which we have assigned to the another column which is having a name price. Now we are printing to the first 5. Okay, it has some error. Okay, let's leave it first and let's print Boston Boston dot it is a feature names, not a feature, so that's a small typo. Okay, so we got all our data into tabular format, so we can visualize it very well. So whatever the first feature we had a CR, that is nothing but I think crime rate. So for first record, all these 13 features are available, and we have put all our target value into price column. So in this way we can see this data set. And generally in this machine learning, what is our task is that these are all our training data sets. So either you can divide this data set into either training and testing in a somewhat proportion way, like 60-40 or 70-30 80 to 20, or these are all the training data set. And in a testing side we have been given another data which is having all 13 feature, and our task is to predict this price of that house based on this 13 feature. So this is all about Boston house data set, that how that is been distributed. Every lecture, what why I have discussed too much about this data set, because before learning any machine learning algorithm or dive into actually machine learning coding, or just directly using any kind of functions method inside this sklearn library, we should have a clear cut understanding of that, how that data looks like, what is the feature, how it is been organized inside this matrix library. That's why I am discussing too much about this data set. So this is all about the Boston data set. Let's see about this iris data set. So let's load this iris. Load iris. So it will load whole data set, and we'll just print the all keys. Okay, so it has also the target names, the data, even target also having a name, because this kind of data set has been used for the classification purpose. So let's print one by one everything. Print iris dot first description, what this data set is all about. So this is actually the flower data set. So it has a total 150 instance, and there are total 3 class. So all 150 instance of record has been divided into 3 class, and for each class there are 50 records. We'll see all 3 class one by one. And number of attributes is a 4 numeric values. So it has a total 4 feature. What are that feature? So individual for individual flower we have been given this sepal length. All datas are in a centimeters. There is a sepal width, also petal length and a petal width, and whatever these 3 class are there. So all flowers has been categorized or classified into 3 different class. That is iris, setosa, forgive me for my pronunciation, actually this is very weird for me actually to pronounce, iris versicolor and iris virginica. So this way actually we have 3 different classes are there in a output variable, and total 4 features are there. This is all about the description of this data set. There are reference also given for this. Let's print about now feature name we have already seen. So there are 4 feature. One is a sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width. So this we have already seen. So let's see what is the target names now. So target name is setosa, versicolor and virginica. These are the 3 different kind of flowers has been categorized based on this 4 feature: width, height, width, length of based on sepal and petal width. Okay, so this is all about the data. Let's print actual data. Okay, so we have been told that there are total 150 instance. So each record is having 4 features, that is a sepal width, length, petal width and length, and there are 150 different instance of like this. Let's print the size or shape. So we'll get how it is been organized into 2-dimension matrix. So it is having a 150 records and a 4 features for each record. So this is all about the iris dataset, and we can use the any kind of classification algorithm of machine learning side to classify if we have been given a new flowers which is having a and different sepal width and length and petal width and length. So our task is to identify or put it into 3 different classification category. Now let's put it into pandas data frame framework. So let's see how it will look like, so we will get a more idea about it. So we'll describe this pandas as a alias name pd, and pandas data frame function will supply whole iris dot data and print ir dot head. Okay, so first 5 records it has printed, which is all having a 4 feature. Now let's assign this column name to the width and length kind of name, so it will be better to visualize us. So we are assigning all column names of ir variable to the iris dot what is our feature name. Okay, and let's print it. Okay, it has not displayed. Okay, yeah, that's a typo actually. The column spelling was typo was wrong. So the first feature is having a sepal length 5.1, sepal width is 3.5, petal length is 1.4 centimeter, and petal width is 0.2 centimeter. Now let's assign even our target also. Target is nothing but the class. So iris dot target, and they have given a target name also. So this is a class, and we'll put the class name also at the last, just for our visualization purpose. Name, target, names. So what we did here, actually we have created 2 different column. One is having a class which is the numeric value, either is lies into one category or second category or third category, and for our understanding in a plain English language, we have been assigned this each and every category to one name, and let's display those things. Okay, it has again the error iris. Let's print it one by one. Okay, I will add it later on. Let's see this. We have just displayed the first 5 record out of it. So all records are lying into one class only, because all values are zeroth class. So let's print all the data. Almost we have a 150 data set, so it will display us almost every data. See, there are some of the records has been lying into zeroth class, and there are some of the records into second class. So in this way, so they have already told that first 50 records in a class 1, the second 50 in a class 2, and third 50 in the class 3. So in this way we can okay, this is wrong actually. We can't assign name, we have to write iterative loop kind of way. So this is wrong. But we have seen the tabular way of visualizing this iris data set, and now our task is that see, they have given even 150 rows and a 5 column. The 5th column is our target output. Then first 4 column is nothing but the total 4 feature for individual flowers, individual instance or individual records. Now the task is that we have been given another flower which is having this 4 feature, and our task is to categorize this into out of this 3 class where it lies. So that's it for this 2 data set of whatever is available inside this sklearn library for our experiment purpose. So this is the introduction of dataset. In the next lecture we will see about diabetic database, and there is one more digit dataset also available. We'll see about even more huge dataset which is available onto internet, and that will be our actual introduction of dataset, because before diving into machine learning coding you should have a thorough understanding of what this dataset is, what is your problem, then we'll apply those dataset into different machine learning algorithm. So thank you guys for watching this video, and keep like, comment and subscribe it. I hope you enjoy watching this video.